Hey, what's up, my little haunters? It's your boy Mikiryu Shioto, and today I will be reviewing for you the Hasbro Overwatch figure Lucio. That is not supposed to come out at all. Lucio, you know that. There we go. So let's get the accessories out of the way. First and foremost, we have the effect of his, I guess you'd call it skating. Technically, they're hockey blades, but I attribute them to hyper techno advanced rollerblades, which isn't much different, but I prefer to look at them like energy rollerblades rather than hockey blades. But you got a left and a right one. Then you've got, oddly, you get 3 left hands and no right hands. So you get the DJ hand for when he's doing his holographic turntable. You get a trigger hand, which I see no point in having since he has no armband on this arm. It's this arm that this plugs into, so I see no point in that one. And then you have just a standard fist. I will say that the painting is fairly good, though I wish that they would have painted the lines on his fingers. I wish they would have painted those. I realize it's difficult, but it's not impossible. But yeah, moving on to the figure itself. So, first off, we got a really cool visor here. Looks very energy-esque, which may not exactly be the intention, but it's there and I like it. Got the sick dreadlocks in the back. Got his what I call boom boom backpack. I think it's got 1 mega speaker, maybe 2, 3. Yeah, there's 2 sub speakers, and then the major one in the backpack. Got his sound cannon, which allows him to heal or give you a boost. And let's get him holding it out there so we can look at it. Very nice detail. I love this sparkle effect. I actually never noticed this until looking through the camera, but it has a little bit of that metal flake in it, and I love that, especially when it's done right. And yeah, just one giant bass speaker attached to some electronics, and boom, you got your little doom 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 doom, gun. I never really paid attention to this either, but there are very, very subtle buttons. Is it on the? There's on somewhere on him. There's a pause, play, or I guess it's in the box art. But these 3 buttons on his arm actually represent a pause, play, and stop button, or a rewind. I think it's pause, play, and stop. But yeah, love the tattoo, by the way. Not entirely certain on what it's supposed to be, although I have a feeling that it's supposed to be similar to the, I thought this was an alien. I didn't know that this was a frog, but apparently this is a frog, so I'm assuming it's similar to the frog that's on his shirt. You turn it and it does kind of look like a frog, but also looks like a beetle to me. And got that really cool, I guess you call it sound wave. I call it a heartbeat. Like when you're hooked up to the EKG machines and you hear the beep, 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 beep. That thing. Really good sculpting on the legs. I will say this is by far the coolest design for a character's legs I've seen in a long time. And you gotta give praise to Hasbro for even being able to figure out how to articulate a video game character to the level of a Marvel Legends. So that's the segue into the articulation. Starting with the head, we have an up and down. Although if you move his dreadlocks, and they are posable, you can get the little swoop. He can actually look up that far. I think he has the what I would call the Quagmire. I'm not really sure. I could be wrong. Give me a second. Yep, he has very subtle. It's a very subtle Quagmire neck joint, so you can get the giggity, giggity, giggity. I'm trying to get it to do it. There we go. See, it's a very, very minute one, but he does have it. This little yellow dealy doesn't actually connect to the backpack. That was a little annoying to me. Still is, but I understand why they would do that, because, you don't really see Lucio's back, like, ever, unless he's doing his, MVP kind of thing. So, one thing I will say is that I'm actually a little disappointed that this is that soft, rubbery kind of plastic that's transparent. I would have preferred that it be the stiff plastic, but then again, if you got... I've been occasionally nicking this with my finger, just, moving it, so it makes sense that it's that flexible plastic, but it's just a minor annoyance. Moving down to the... Dang it, this is always coming out. I could probably fix it with glue, but I don't like gluing my figures. It's just a minor annoyance. So moving down to the torso, we have an ab crunch. He actually has two. All of these figures seem to have two. So you got this one, and then you have the one closer to the hips. You can, if you do it right, get him to also do the limbo, mambo, whatever the heck the thing where you go under the barn. They're like, how low can you go? This is how low he can go for that. And then he does have the very good ab crunch for leaning forward, which lends itself to some very dynamic poses. We're going to not do legs just yet. We're going to go over to arms. So this has my favorite joint for a figure. They all seem to. I could be wrong, but most of the characters have a butterfly joint. And I love butterfly joints. It allows for so much more posability than your average, just, stationary figure whose arm just comes out here. But this one, allows you to get your arm out a little bit further. So yeah. And then we do have a ball joint here. His arm can go back and forth all the way. It's further assisted by the butterfly joint, but here you go all the way forward with the butterfly joint. Without the butterfly joint, it's a little more difficult, and I'm not really willing to do that. Double jointed elbow, as you can see, more than 90 degrees if you start squeezing, but you don't want to squeeze too hard, you might mess up the plastic. The hands are on that, and they're all like this. They are on that little peg that, you swap them and they can go down and up, but, you gotta show the posability in action. So here's his DJ hand. I keep him with this one because it doesn't make sense to have the other two. He doesn't really punch, he's a DJ. But there's the hand all the way down, all the way up. And then it's pretty much exactly the same, except for the fact that this hand is his gun holding hand. No tattoo, which kind of makes sense. I mean, I have only one tattoo at present, so, it makes sense. I've got a scorpion tattoo. No, I'm not a Scorpio. I just like scorpions. So, all the way forward, all the way back, all the way up, before nicking stuff. The gun does tend to make his arms sag, so that's one thing to keep in mind, or at least maybe maybe it's my copy. We're actually going to move the cord just for the elbow articulation. The gun doesn't actually inhibit much movement, though I will say that it is annoying to constantly mess around with the gun, because maybe it's my copy, but it seems that most of these Overwatch figures, their hands are not expressly tight, so their hands don't really hold their weapons all that well. But, that could be because, I've left the weapons in the hand for so long that it's like when you leave a peg in a Lego minifigure hands for too long. They tend to just, be looser the next time you try to put a peg in. And I forgot to say this, but he also does have the side-to-side torso movement, so you can get some of those really good, although based on the effects, this is more likely going to be you, so you'll have him going with his ice skates. And speaking of his legs, we can almost get a perfect splits out of him. So you could do the what is that move? It's the move that they pull off in Blades of Glory, where Jimmy does he throws McElroy, or not McElroy. He throws. Fuck, I can't. You guys know the moment, right? Where he throws the fatter guy in the air, and then he jumps and goes, gives him a nice little shave, and then grabs him by his arm and leg, spins him, and they win the competition because it was like a fatal one. So you can get that. You do have lower thigh rotation, nothing at the upper portion, except for, because it's a ball joint. That far forward, not very far. I wish it was further, but it makes sense because Lucio isn't really doing much. Again, he's a DJ. He just kind of mobilized himself. Knee bend is one click, so full extended all the way down, fully extended all the way back. Feet are on a rocker. It's very cool, though, to look at this. And then all the way forward. And the rocker is a little weird because technically you are flexing the plastic when you do this, and I'll show it as best as I can with one hand. Again, that's what I'm working with. But you click it, and it just kind of pushes the blade portion. But you can, flex it if you turn it sideways. You can get him to break his ankle. Don't know why you'd want to break Lucio's ankle. Lucio's awesome. And then flexing the part, it does go forward. But typically you're just going to end up, leaving him with his foot like that. You can still get a good hold, but yeah. So I will say this. He is Ghost Rider tier. I haven't had any major complaints about him. Matter of fact, I have 0 complaints other than, I wish his legs could flex more, but given the size and the way that he is designed in game, he probably wasn't designed with the idea of having an actual action figure in mind, but it is still pretty cool that they were able to, transition him from the 2.5D to a full 3D model / action figure. And I also love that his dreadlocks are, colored the way they should be. So he's got that, I want to say black, but it's more like a very dark brown. And then you've got the gray on the top, or I guess I should call it tan. It's tan. And it transitions to the back. It's just all amazing. I have nothing bad to say about this line, other than that, some characters could use touch-ups here or touch-ups there. I wish there was more paint apps, but those are inconsequential gripes. That has nothing to do with the toy itself. That's just my personal preferences. I am an adult collector, so I collect them, and I wish that the character was as detailed as possible. And quite frankly, these characters are as detailed as possible, unless you are like hyper meticulous. Then yeah, you could come in here on his hands and lightly paint his the cords coming off of this base plate on his hand. But all in all, that's just a minor gripe, so totally worth it. I will say that it is annoying only getting one pair of these. I wish that there was, maybe one other set where it's the reverse, so you can get them to do the this way, or just, make an attachment so that you could stick him on your wall and have him going straight like he can do in the game. But All in all, for close to $30 retail, that's a pretty good figure. You get the figure, an awesome gun accessory, a pair of swappable hands, which quite a while ago wasn't a thing, and now it's almost standard, which is awesome. And then you get some effects, which are very hard to come by anyway. Most of the time, you'll just get the figure and their weapon, but this gives you the figure, the weapon, their interchangeable hands, standard basically, and effects parts. So I have nothing substantially bad to say. This is Ghost Rider tier. So if you want to get this one, typically you'll find your Overwatch figures at Ross. You can find them on eBay, Goodwill, But if you want them fresh in the package, brand new, never played with, your best friend's going to be Ross. That's where I picked up most of these figures. Some of them I picked up at my local Walmart. Others I picked up at GameStop. Matter of fact, I think that's where I got my Sombra, which may be my next review. I don't know. It depends. But until next time, my little hunters, you should have stayed awake.